And we're live. Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Matt Price. I run enablement here at Object First. Almost said Veeam. Imagine our special guest today, as you can see from the bottom corner. So we invite any questions that you guys have throughout today's presentation. Keep in mind, we're simulcasting on 3 platforms. So we're on LinkedIn Live, we're on YouTube Live, and we're also on Twitter, or also known as X nowadays. So if you've got any questions, you'd like to interact with us, please ask those in the chat. And we've got moderators that can ask those questions live to the panel. And as you can tell, I'm joined by 2 very esteemed colleagues here, Mr. Anthony Cusimano and Meredith Frick, and I'll let them introduce themselves here momentarily. But with that said, really the purpose of today's webinar is how you can join forces with not only Veeam, but also us here at Object First to truly delight your customers. And certainly the panel that we've gathered together today are the experts in this space. So with that said, before we go too much further, Anthony, for some of our viewers who maybe already know Veeam, they're experts in Veeam because Veeam has certainly been around for 17 years now, I believe it is. It's been quite a while, but maybe don't really know a lot about Object First and who we are and why we came to market. Give us the backstory.
Yeah, so my introduction always comes with a bit of a pitch. So perfect timing, Matt. My name is Anthony Cusimano. I'm the Director of Technical Marketing here at Object First. And just like Matt said, 17 years ago, wow, I've always gone with the over a decade number. I didn't realize it was 17 years ago. That's wild. Ratmir and Andre founded Veeam. Now, if y'all are experts and you know Ratmir and Andre, that's awesome. If you don't, they're 2 super cool, super brilliant dudes who saw a need in the market specifically around VMware. 17 years ago, there was no good option when it came to backing up VMware VMs. And they were, the gears in their mind were turning. They came up with this amazing solution. It influenced the name, Veeam and VM. They sound very similar. They're trying to get in that limbic space, but also solve the pressing problem of the time, which is how do we get a better VMware backup? Now, flash forward to, let's do some math here, quick math. 14 years later, Ratmir and Andre, they know Veeam is the #1 data management platform in the world. But they see this new problem start to creep up, specifically ransomware. And ransomware got out of control right around the time of COVID. Everyone started to experience it. It was perfect because everyone's working from home. We all have end devices now. We're all perpetually plugged into everything. And the number of attacks just skyrocketed. Yeah, there used to be a stat that said, I think in 2021, an attack happened every 11 seconds. Now there's like 14 attacks every second. Breaches are out of control. We all know ransomware is bad. I won't belabor the point, but Ratmir and Andre saw this almost 4 years ago now, and they knew ransomware had started to attack the backups, specifically, Veeam end users. They saw their Veeam backups were being attacked by ransomware if they hadn't secured their devices correctly. So just like they did with VMware 17 years ago, they thought, how do we build a better storage target specifically for Veeam? And that's exactly how you get to us at Object First and our flagship product, UTB, which stands for out of the box immutability. Now, everything in that name describes exactly what UTB is, but it is a ransomware-proof device that is an on-prem storage appliance that is secure, simple, and powerful to use. So everything we've built when it comes to UTB is purpose-built specifically for Veeam. That's Ratmir and Andre being clever again, seeing the need, solving the need. UTB is designed for one backup product and one backup product only, and that is Veeam. We're secure by taking advantage of this zero trust principles. We built the box to be zero access by default, meaning that even the most privileged admin cannot get in, and they can't modify, and they certainly cannot delete the backup data once it lands on the box for the entirety of the immutability window set in Veeam. It is simple. Part of the security process was actually removing all of the bells and whistles and toggles that usually admins have. So it meant that we allowed our users to only do 2 things: create S3 keys and create S3 buckets, which is all you need for object storage to connect to Veeam. And that's all we allow you to do. And again, the simplicity goes beyond just the number of functions we have. Matt and I have a great video series online on YouTube called Box to Backup. and you can see exactly how simple it is to set up, rack stack, and use our entire product. The video series is literally less than 15 minutes in total, and that's the entire use of our product. So check it out if you don't believe me on the simplicity claim. Many say they are simple, but we actually are. And lastly, it is powerful. When you purpose build for one product, when you really get to dial in every single aspect of what it does for that single vendor. Other storage vendors have to solve everything for everyone, and that's fine. That's the way they go about doing it. But we said we're only going to solve for Veeam, which meant that we built our communication around that latest and greatest SOS API that came out in version 12. Our ingestion process is optimized specifically for Veeam data. The block size is purpose built to be 1 megabyte, which is exactly the size that Veeam sends their data over. And we support Veeam encryption. We support every cool thing that Veeam does, but that also means that we've optimized our ingestion and our instant recovery performance specifically for that platform, giving us the ability to offer something that is both affordable and powerful simultaneously. Now, that's just a little bit about Ootby, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it as we go along here, but I've rambled long enough. I'd actually like to pass the torch to Meredith, who can talk to you about why you should consider partnering with us.
Yes. Well, thanks for teeing that up, Anthony. And hopefully you guys are loving our Halloween theme, right? Halloween's only a couple days away, so not to scare you, but we've got some great things to talk to you about today. And one of those things is partnering, not only partnering with Object First, but it dovetails very nicely into our partnership with Veeam. As Anthony has mentioned, we are purpose-built for Veeam, and we align so nicely, not only from a product standpoint, but from a marketing and co-branding perspective. We work right alongside the Veeam team, whether it's the marketing team, their field sellers. So again, there's this tight integration, not only for the product, but with the people themselves. And with that, I want to bring on a very, very special guest, a former colleague of mine, John Stuart, who's Director of Partner Sales at Veeam. He's going to talk a little bit today about the relationship, but also what Veeam offers in the case of ransomware and how we partner together to deliver a fantastic solution that does delight our customers. So John, please take it away.
Well, thank you, Meredith. I really appreciate it. And it's great to be on this this webinar today with these great colleagues of mine from Object First. And as Anthony shared, we have a shared heritage, right? And Andre and Ratmir, who I've had the pleasure of meeting, and such amazing thought leaders, right, that we have in our time right now that not only started Veeam, but also Object First. And they've got an amazing track record of starting and running amazing technology companies, right? And so it's been a great journey. I've personally been at Veeam for going on close to 6 years. It's been amazing. It's been a great ride. And I am responsible for our channel business in North America. I manage our inside partner management organization. So that's my area of responsibility. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the Veeam and the Object First partnership, and specifically how it relates to our partners, right? Our trusted partners. And right off the bat, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start with going and talking about a couple of wins, because we hear, you may have heard that Veeam, in the course of our history, and Anthony talked about how long Veeam's been around, we've built up a whopping 450,000 customers, which is really hard to believe, right? I mean, that's a lot of customers, very, very satisfied customers. But one of the questions that we get is how is it going with Object First? And the good news is that we're already starting to get some great wins. And you can see that we've got a couple right here in front of us. We've got a couple of wins that have come up from we've got an engineering consulting firm that had a great need to scale their business, and they had a recent win. We had an apparel and fashion retailer as well that recently had a very strong win, and then a financial services firm. So we're starting to get some really sizable wins across the Veeam and the Object First landscape. And so, that momentum is building. So I think, based on this, the time has never been better to partner with Veeam and with Object First, especially given what we've seen with ransomware. But anything that you guys want to add from the Object First team about these amazing wins?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, Anthony, covered so much of this at the beginning because, when Ratmir and Andre developed this company, they were specifically lasered into the Veeam customer base. And, I think it's important to note, John, that we only work with Veeam, right? We could technically support other vendors, but we are laser focused into making the Veeam experience better and making sure that these customers don't suffer, data breaches. So I
Right.
think, it really goes a long way to show the different sectors and, you know, uh, target customers that Utbe is a great fit coupled with Veeam in these environments. So, some
Yeah.
great wins indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add, the interesting thing about these three and the many others that we've started to see success with is we're not falling into just a single slice. We're not chasing that single target. We realize that ransomware attacks everyone, whether you're, running a small IT shop on a farm to doing the most complex, next gen quantum computing banking software. You have to be able to make your backups immutable. You have to take advantage of that sort of zero access and zero trust mentality when it comes to storing data. And these fine folks have, and I hope that everyone else starts to jump on the bandwagon and see the value of this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I saw, Anthony, is that these companies, it looks like one thing that was shared across these wins is that they were looking for an immutable solution, right? Without that's obviously what Object First provides. Scalable storage, fast restores, right? Quick to market, and we saw that really across these and even more wins that are starting to come on board. So it's fantastic to start to see these joint wins.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would say those with the joint wins is if you look across, they hit many sectors, right?
Yes.
Financial services, retail. So, keeping that in mind, we can solve that solution from SMB up to enterprise and across a host of verticals. So we are not pigeonholed into only solving a problem for one industry, which is a story for both Veeam and Object First. So that is something to keep in mind as you're looking to find opportunities for our solution. Is you are not hamstrung by being or pigeonholed into a certain sector. We solve that problem for just about everybody.
That's right. Yep. And another thing, Meredith, that I think is really important to highlight, and I've got a slide on this up, right now, is Veeam is 100% channel, and this has been really important ever since our founding many years ago. And so Veeam, we lead with the channel, we invest in the channel. I am part of our channel organization, and so I think this is incredibly powerful for our partners because it means that we are here to invest in them. We're not going to do end arounds and take business direct. They don't have to worry about that, like they may see elsewhere. And so this is to me, it's a fantastic something that's very unique amongst us with Veeam and certainly with Object First as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And given our heritage and Veeam being 100% channel, it makes perfect sense that that's how we go to market. Again, to your point, we are investing in our partners with programs. Nice margin up front, support from a technical marketing and sales perspective. So our core values are very much aligned when it comes to supporting our partner network. Again, there is no other route to market for us. So you can trust and believe that when we're in it with you, we are in it from start to finish, and there is no other route to market for us. So partnering is key for our success. So, we do a lot of joint programs and things like that with the Veeam team. And so you'll see us out there together. And the fact that we have a unified message on we're 100% channel makes it very seamless for our partners as well.
It sure does. Yeah. And and we love it, of course, in our channel organization, because this is something that we can tell our partners, we are 100% behind you, and we are here, here to invest in your business. We want to make sure that you're also making money selling Veeam and Object First together. And, one thing I wanted to highlight as well is so many that are on here, may be pretty familiar with Veeam, but, I think, there's a couple of things that really stand out and that I really enjoyed in the almost 6 years that I've been at Veeam. And, Veeam is a market leader across the space. I mean, Anthony talked about how we got our start, with VMware, with virtualization, backing up VMs, and we've broadened that over the past, many years with not only new versions, but also new products. Now we can back up Microsoft 365, and we can back up, Caston, we can back up Salesforce, so it's a lot of different options there. We've got #1 share in IDC, with our market share position, with 6 years in a row now in the #1 in the Gartner Magic Quadrant and our ability to execute. And then Meredith, you mentioned how we are, big across all of the different customer segments. And this is certainly true. I mean, we're very strong within the SMB, within the public sector space, within commercial, but also in the enterprise, right? In those top accounts, 81% of the Fortune 500 companies use and they trust Veeam. So that really says a lot when we're, trusted and used by so many large companies. And also our Net Promoter Score, which we're very happy about, right? With 450,000 customers, it's obviously very important that we are out there making sure that our customers are thrilled and they're delighted with our solution. And so 75 Net Promoter Score is certainly what leads us to that.
Yeah, that Net Promoter Score is great, and it speaks to your point of the 450,000 plus customers. When you have that many, and to be able to have such a high score, and that score has been very high for years, and recently this most recent release of the Net Promoter Score at 75. There are other companies in tech that they may have a half or a third of that number in terms of their Net Promoter Score. So when you think about that, there's a lot of delighted customers from the Veeam side. And so as we partner with them at Object First, you'll see that they're going to enjoy that same experience. And I would venture to say that our Net Promoter Score will be very high as we move forward and start getting those annual rankings in the industry as well.
Yeah, of that I have no doubt at all. And so one of the things that we, I think that is on everybody's mind, and certainly, Anthony alluded to this earlier, is the threat of ransomware. And what kind of struck me is over the course of the previous years, we've kind of moved away from, data centers having to be ready for natural disasters, right? And have redundancy in place for flooding or for hurricanes or earthquakes. And those are still there, but those are rare events that would, potentially take out a data center. What we're seeing now, though, with cyber, hackers, villains, is that it's much more probable. And one of the things is, this ransomware trends report that we have out there. I'd highly recommend that anybody that's watching this go out there and take a look at it. It's really fascinating. It really is. And we've got some QR codes on the screen. And if you could just Google Veeam's ransomware trends 2023 report, and it'll pull it down. What this is, though, so we had an independent firm did a blind survey of 1,200 unbiased IT leaders across multiple different types of organizations. These were CISOs and IT generalists and data analysts, all types, all over the world, to talk about, what was the impact of ransomware on their business. And some pretty startling trends emerged from this. I mean, just two of them we've got up on the screen, such as, and I'll ask you guys on the panel, what do you think cyber villains were able to affect the backup repositories, and what percentage of attacks that took place? Any guesses on that?
It's got to be high. It's got to be, over 70% is my guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go over 80. Yeah. I think this is a little Price is Right here, but I'm going to go higher.
Yeah, I can read the screen, so I'm saying 75.
Yeah. I just put it on there. So it is, and this is, of course, of the people that were surveyed as a result of this report, right? So it could vary, but it's a pretty broad survey if you're talking about 1,200 different individuals that were pulled into this. But yes, 75% of backup repositories were impacted. So that's a pretty major impact. And then the other thing is, another question: what percentage of production data do you think was affected by a cyber attack?
100. 99.
45%. Yeah, 45% of keep in mind of the production data that companies were running was affected by the cyber attack. And that's also pretty startling. And I think some of the trends you can see as you read through the report is just because you pay the ransom doesn't necessarily mean that you actually get to recover your data. In fact, about a third of companies on this report said that they in fact paid the ransom, but they didn't get their data back, right? So imagine paying millions of dollars and you're still down, with your data. The other thing, and then I'll open up to the panel on this too, is I think that's the difficult part with this is the amount of time that companies are down. In fact, they reported it was an average of 3.3 weeks from when they started to earnestly dive in to begin the recovery efforts. 3.3 weeks until they were essentially complete with that recovery. But even to get to the start of that 3-week period on average, they've got to do a lot of work, like identifying the servers that were impacted. Do they in fact have clean backups, right? So, there's no question that this is a major issue that's impacting the world today. And I think it really plays in, of course, to the Veeam and the Object First solution that we have to offer to help combat this growing trend.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more with John, and just having watched Veeam Cyber Resiliency Summit yesterday, there's obviously a huge emphasis on security in general, and you're right, it's not security from a fire or a flood, it's for an outsider threat. And one of the things that I really wanted to double down on this slide is when we think about ransomware, our brains naturally goes to it's encrypting your data, it's locking your data, pay me to decrypt your data. But the reality is there's really two fundamental in-game goals that these malicious actors might have. One is absolutely what you just described, but the second could be to exploit that data, to share the data, whether it's social security numbers or, financial information. And when we think about, immutability and all this type of stuff, immutability doesn't stop anybody from reading the data. It only stops them from altering or changing the data. So when you look at the comprehensive best practice strategy, Veeam plus Object First really covers all those bases because fundamentally our unit is immutable out of the box. Just like Anthony said, there's no root access, there's no command line access. So there's literally no way from even an insider threat to go in there and somehow disable immutability. So we've got your back when it comes to the first scenario, encrypting the data. But the second scenario, Veeam has encryption that we fully integrate with. So you can actually land the data that Veeam backs up encrypted onto an immutable storage target exclusively built for Veeam. So now you're protected from that second scenario also.
Hey, Matt, let me ask you a question, another trivia question. So what percentage of companies do you think have experienced at least one ransomware attack in the past year? Take a guess.
Oh, it's got to be high. I said 100 and overshot a minute ago. I'll say 90%.
Yeah, 85% of companies so far. And that's up, by the way, year over year, right? So I think last year it was in the 70s, 85%. So and with that kind of number, it's bound to happen, right? I mean, that's where I was saying natural disasters were pretty rare, but now this type of occurrence is much, much more likely. So
absolutely.
Now it's so important for companies to be ready. And there's really, there's one way outside of paying the ransom and then rolling the dice that you're even then going to get your data back. And what is it? It's having a secure backup, right? That's the alternative. That's the solution. And that's why I think Veeam and Object First make such a great pair when it comes to this.
Couldn't agree more.
So one thing I wanted to add to team on top of this is that this year Veeam announced our ransomware recovery warranty. And so this was new. I like to say, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and this is, in the event that an attack does take place on a Veeam customer, we are so confident that the customer will be able to recover all their data that we will cover the cost of any data recovery from an attack up to $5 million. And this includes a lot of different components. We've got some of them on the screen. This includes advanced, support, health checks, 30-minute response SLA, et cetera. And we've got some requirements built into this. Some terms and conditions do exist. But I think this is fantastic that, now customers can essentially rest easy knowing that they've got their immutable backups set, they've got their plans in place, and Veeam has got a warranty to cover it as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So definitely a differentiator in the marketplace. And then we've had so many different customers that have expressed, I'm so glad that I had Veeam, that I had it installed, And essentially, you guys saved me when I had an attack. I've had customers that have told me that, personally, multiple times. This is just one example of many. City of Sarasota, they got hit with a demand for $34 million in Bitcoin. And the attackers, what they did is they encrypted 3 file servers that were supporting all of the City of Sarasota's services that they offer to the taxpayers. But rather than pay that, because they had Veeam running and they had immutable backups that were isolated, they were able to essentially not pay it. They didn't pay the ransom, and no service was disrupted as a result of this. So, that's just one example. We actually have quite a few of these different customer scenarios where they're running Veeam, and we're able to avoid having to have the downtime, and paying the ransom. Because I think that's really the big thing is that it's the downtime, right? I mean, obviously $34 million is a lot of money, but when you're talking about weeks, maybe even, months until you're fully up and operational again, you're talking about a lot of services and a lot of business that's lost as a result.
Yeah.
Any other comments, team, on ransomware before we move on? Obviously a huge topic, and we could talk about this for a long time because it's so important. But
yeah, I think it's certainly hockey sticking, up and to the right. It's going to be a ever growing and ever evolving problem. Anthony and I were chatting previous to this stream about, they're getting smarter. They're not getting any dumber, right? So you're just going to have more attack vectors pop up as time passes. So immutable backups, zero access, on-prem storage coupled with Veeam security and industry-leading data protection. That's hard to beat, right? That sounds like a perfect 1-2 punch.
Sure does. Couldn't agree with you more, Matt. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, briefly, especially for all of our partners that may be watching this. So that is, I mentioned that we're 100% channel, right? So at Veeam, we take that very seriously. We have a very robust pro partner program, in terms of incentives and spiffs and we want to make sure that our partners are making, good money selling Veeam. One of the I think the best ways to do that is through our deal registration program, right? And partners, any different partners that are, as long as they're signed up in our portal to do business with Veeam, can submit a deal reg to get really, and it's not just about getting additional discounting, so ability to make more money, but it's also protection, right? So once that deal registration is approved, then that partner is protected on that particular opportunity. And then in some cases, we offer spiffs and we offer incentives on top of our deal reg program. In fact, right now we're running a net new logo incentive. So there's additional margin that can be made to our partners that are selling into net new Veeam customers that then submit a deal registration. And I think Meredith and team, I think that's very similar on the Object First side as well, right? I mean, we should certainly be we should be recommending to our partners that they submit a deal registration, not just for their Veeam business, but also for Object First as well.
Yeah, great point, John. Yes, because we do, as does Veeam, have a deal registration program, right? So enhanced margin for those partners. Again, to your point, it does protect that partner who is then that partner of record for that opportunity. But again, not only the margin, but there's other benefits with having dedicated marketing team, sales, and technical resources. So the partner program, it's something that I'm passionate about. I could talk about partner programs all day long, but again, it's about delivering value back to those partners, right, that are committed to sell our joint solution. And as you guys look to expand your portfolio, we will be growing right along with you as the immutable storage solution for Veeam. So we look to grow our channel alongside yours. And again, the partnership is fantastic. You'll see there's a lot of similarities, right? There's, it's very symbiotic relationship there between Object First and Veeam. Again, wanting to make it very easy for the partners to do business with us from a deal reg perspective and engagement perspective. We offer enablement series as well, so they can quickly get up to speed on everything Object First and be able to recognize when there's an opportunity in the marketplace to offer our solution along with Veeam. So again, more to come on our joint offerings as we move forward. But again, deal reg partner program is key to our success and investing in our partner community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a pillar for us at Veeam, and we strongly recommend to our partners, bringing us opportunities and get a deal registration in, especially if it's a net new logo, right? Because you're going to earn a lot of additional margin as a result of doing that. So definitely a great best practice. And then as we approach, wrapping up our time, team, just a couple of questions that, you can ask to customers, right? And I think, this could be, by the way, this could be existing customers. So you could think about it as a customer that has an upcoming renewal, right? With those 450,000 customers that we have, most of them are, under a maintenance contract and have renewals coming up. So these are some just good, quick questions to ask that customer as a renewal is upcoming. Do you have additional workloads to protect? How are you doing in your storage capacity? Do you need additional capacity? Is the storage that you're using for your backups right now, is it immutable? Are you prepared in the case of a ransomware attack? By the way, at Veeam this quarter, we're also running an early bird promotion on upcoming renewals, right? So if we get those renewals and do an upgrade on that early, we've got some additional incentives around that as well. And then you can see that we've got the QR code for the Veeam Pro Partner Portal on the screen. So if anybody has any questions regarding, getting signed up on the portal, how to do a deal registration, et cetera, then that would be your one-stop shop when it comes to all of our Veeam programs with our partners.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about, the questions to ask, John, because you've got a lot of good ones up there. But the reality is that, we were talking about previous to going live is, Object First really makes Veeam more sticky, right? Because we only partner with Veeam. So if you're looking at a renewal situation, and they already have Veeam, they love Veeam, but they're looking for on-prem immutable storage where they don't have to be a security expert, a storage admin. They just need a turnkey solution that's also supported. I mean, we're the perfect fit. You just drop us in. There's no command line access, like we talked about earlier. It's immutable out of the box. It literally takes 15 minutes to get off the ground. That's an easy win, if they're already looking at potentially going a different route entirely because of that, lack of immutable storage on-prem. That's an easy sell. I also think it's important to touch on when we say immutability, is it on-prem or cloud-based? Because a lot of customers, might think, well, look, we've got on-prem storage and we're shipping up to, S3 at Amazon or Microsoft or insert cloud vendor here. And while that data off-prem is recommended, it can be immutable. You also have to go back to John's point about downtime and time to recover. How long is it going to take to recover with the egress costs, pulling all that data out of the cloud to bring business back online if a ransomware attack occurred? I know specifically I've chatted with customers who frankly don't have the bandwidth to push that data to the cloud anyway, based on geography.
Right.
So having on-prem immutable options that are simple, that have integrated support, I mean, that's an easy win. So definitely a lot of great questions we could cover here.
Yeah.
And I would say, ransomware is a hot topic, but immutability, you're going to hear more and more about that for cyber insurance reasons. And so it's a boardroom conversation. It's not necessarily just at the admin or IT director level. So very key to be able to become well-versed in immutability, what it means, and what solution you can offer your customers with Veeam and Object First.
And the point I would add is kind of doubling down on a statement I made earlier. Look at your client's current storage today. How difficult would it be for you or for them as an admin to go in and factory reset the device? If you're hosting, how difficult would it be for them to use an admin account and go in and just wipe it all away? Even though it's immutable, right? Like immutable storage can be deleted if it's not in compliance mode. Governance mode is a totally different beast. Go through those worst case scenarios, look at those steps, see how easy or difficult it is to get in, and then realize that we've locked everything out. There is no compromise when it comes to OOTB, and we continue to security test and harden and have folks try and break in. And it's, we are really focused on the recovery use case. We want to make sure that, like Matt said, you're not pulling down terabytes of data from the cloud. Instead, you're instant recovering 80 VMs simultaneously, instantly on a local on-prem OOTB cluster. And that data is uncompromised the entire time. That's the big differentiator for me.
And one other one that just came to mind that came up recently, and John, you touched on, Veeam has the $5 million ransomware warranty, but a lot of customers are required to have insurance, cybersecurity insurance. And part of some of these policies have been really going up if
Oh, yeah.
immutability is not deployed. So a lot of these customers are scrambling, figuring out how do we get that checkbox so insurance premiums don't skyrocket because of what we're seeing in the space. And yet again, here we come with a 15-minute turnkey solution that's supported that doesn't require, let's say the customer doesn't have Linux expertise. Let's say they don't have storage or security expertise on staff. No need. Drop us in. It's already been handled, from the factory. So yet another solution that might couple that together with Veeam as a perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we've seen where, I mean, yeah, the insurance is a possibility, but it is getting more expensive, and it's probably going to get more difficult, right, as these attacks just continue to skyrocket, and you're still stuck with having your business down and losing data, right? So there's still a lot of risks even with insurance involved. So
Totally agree.
yeah, so these are just a couple of questions I think to kind of get everyone's appetite whetted in regards to this. But I think as we wrap up, why Veeam and why Object First. I mean, we mentioned this already, but Object First is purpose built for Veeam, right? So it's quick. We can get up and running quickly, as we've seen with some of our customer wins. There's also good margin, right? Good velocity as far as being able to deploy, but also good margin for our partners as well, as we've talked about. That's really important. But ultimately, it's about to me, one of the big things is just delighting our customers, right? I mean, we've got a lot of very satisfied customers already, like we talked about with our Net Promoter Score. But I think that's one thing that we share across both the Veeam and the Object First teams is we're focused on delighting our customers, right? And it's when you hear that customer say, "Wow, you guys really saved me because I had this solution up and running. You helped me to plan and be ready for it. So when I got hit with an attack, I was able to keep my business running and or recover quickly." So I think that's really the heart of it, right, team, is that we're out here to help delight our customers. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, John. That's what it's all about, is making sure the customers just have a better experience. Don't ever have to question paying the ransom. We all know how cryptocurrency works. There's no guarantees, right? That's the whole point. It's decentralized.
yeah, absolutely.
So let's just avoid that from the start.
And I wanted to just put my my name, my phone number, my email address are up on the screen right now. So if any of this caught your attention, you have additional questions. Maybe you're a new partner and you've never done business with Veeam before. You just want to get started, even though we've put a bunch of the links out there. I've got a team of individuals that can help answer questions. Get you signed up, or if you're an existing partner, help work with you to grow your business and make sure you're maximizing all the benefits that we offer. So I think for that, I mean, I really appreciate the time to the Object First team to be able to come on here today. It's been a delight to do that, and I think we've got a great message that we're putting out there in the market today.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate your time as well, John. So just real quick, final thoughts. Let's maybe go to Meredith. What was one takeaway you had from today, and what do you want to leave people with?
Well, for me, it's the partnership.
Yeah.
Having shared goals, shared values, and how we go to market. I think for me, being 100% channel, just like Veeam, to me is a game changer, and it's the foundation of our partner program and way we partner and go to market.
Absolutely. Anthony?
For me, it's easy. It's one of our marketing taglines. I use it all the time. But when you think about Veeam, think about Object First, right?
Yeah.
It's a match made in heaven, like peanut butter and jelly. We just lift each other up, and we want to do the same thing for your clients and customers.
I dig it. And John, final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, to me, it's about also working with great people. And I love working at Veeam because it's a fantastic culture. I love, working with all of the team at Object First. It's great people, right? And we all want to do business with people that we enjoy working with. So I think, this is it's a great match that we've got with great, people, great founders, and Ratmir and Andre as well, all the way on down, right? So it's a tremendous opportunity. So, engage with us if you've got questions or need help, in this journey.
Couldn't agree more. And, my final thoughts are really doubling down on everything you guys already laid up there for me, because it truly is, purpose built for Veeam. And like Anthony said, it's simple, and everybody's simple until they're not. So it really means something to be turnkey, immutable, ransomware proof out of the box, exclusively engineered for Veeam customers. So it really doesn't get any better than that. I just want to thank everybody for their time. John, special thanks to you for coming on and sharing everything with us. We greatly appreciate it. And thanks for you, our viewers. If you've got any questions, any follow-up, please reach out to us. John put his contact info on there. You can hit us up at Object First at info@objectfirst.com, or insert first name last name of any of us at objectfirst.com, and we'll be more than happy to get any questions answered and help you get signed up to be a partner. And with that said, we'll see you guys on the next stream. Y'all have a great week.
Take care.